I think we can all agree that the field of education has changed over time and continues to change. The changes and shifts that are taking place nowadays in education are steering teachers towards a new way of thinking and approaching their teaching. The goal? To be a 21st century teacher. What does that mean? A 21st century teacher would be described as someone who is adaptive, a lifelong learner, tech savvy, collaborative, a forward thinker, and is a strong advocate to the teaching profession. Knowing what a 21st century teacher looks like is one thing, but how can we help each other get there? Before we get there, it is important that we as educators understand why this shift is necessary. So what do we need to know in order to make this happen? We need to understand generational differences, personality types, habits of effective teachers, and effective instructional practices. Staff can be made up of teachers from various generations. It is important that we take the time to understand each generation and what they can offer to our profession and to each other. So how exactly do the generations differ? Let's take a look at a few key points. First, let's look at the core values. Everyone works hard no matter the generation they grew up in. They take pride in the work they do. You will notice, however, as generations have changed, the core values have shifted as well. For example, take a look at the baby boomers versus the millennials. Baby boomers value equality and teamwork. Millennials, while they appreciate these things as well, they value their higher education and their competitive nature. So, we need to figure out how to take the core values of each generation and combine them in order to achieve that ultimate goal. Next, let's look at the work ethic across generations. Again, every generation has a high work ethic. They know hard work pays off, and they know what they need to do to be successful. Again, what success looked like several generations ago may not necessarily be where the profession is heading now. So how can we take the strong work ethics of each generation and combine them into one? That is a question we still need to look to answer. No two people from the same generation work the same. Often, we can relate better to someone who has grown up in the same generation as us. But how do we work with people from different generations if our thinking and approach is different? These are some of the important keys to remember when those questions arise. If we take the time to understand key ideas like these, then that will help everyone when we are trying to reach the ultimate goal of becoming a 21st century teacher. As a staff, it's important to understand the value of each generation. But why is it important? This is extremely important when it comes to collaborating with colleagues because it helps us to understand the people we work with. It helps us to eliminate judgment and bias people may have. We build collaborative relationships and find common ground that we may not have known even existed. It helps us to see things in a new and different way. Taking the time to understand the different generations is the first step to building a well-rounded 21st century teacher.